love movies and movie discussions, you've come to the right place. Who am I, you ask? I am the Wiz, and I'm here today to review the 2018 dramatic film Roma, directed by Alfonso Cuaron. Man, I gotta tell you, if there is one director nowadays that really knows how to take a camera and shoot a gorgeous looking frame, it is Alfonso Cuaron. So this guy has been doing a lot of directing since, I would say, the mid-90s. You guys will probably know that his breakout film was Y Bien from 2001, something that has become one of my favorite films of all time. But he also did films back in the early 90s like Great Expectations and A Little Princess. Great Expectations is the one that was with Ethan Hawke and Gwyneth Paltrow. I think I got that right. I think Robert De Niro was also in that movie, if I recall correctly. He then went on to make other films that really wowed people when they watched him just from the visual aspect of them. Like Children of Men, in some of those sequences, are breathtaking to watch. And then Gravity, which became his first Academy Award-winning film for Best Director, that also visually is an astounding looking movie. So when he got another award for Roma, he not only got Best Director, he also got Best Cinematography. He did the cinematography on his own. And he also got Best International Film. I was really curious to see how this turned out. I just got around to it now to see it. So let's get into it. Let's get into the review of Roma, directed by Alfonso Cuaron. But before that, let's get into the plot. This movie is set in Mexico City in the 70s. Cleo, who is played by Yalitza Aparicio, is one of two housekeepers for middle-class couple Sofia, played by Marina Tavira, and Antonio, played by Fernando Gradiaga. When Antonio decides to leave for his mistress, complications arises when Sofia is coping with her crumbling marriage, and Cleo deals with the shock of a sudden pregnancy. And that's essentially the movie. So why don't we get into my 3 points? And my first point for Roma is this is a stunning visual film with excellent cinematography. This is not a shock. If you've seen his other films, like I mentioned, Y Bien, Children of Men, Gravity, I would even say Great Expectations is a very good looking film. Alfonso Cuaron makes a stunning picture with a lot of great lighting, camera angles. He is incredibly good at what he does behind the camera. There are scenes in this film that need precise timing, and I mean precise timing. Even like small little things where, like, let's say Cleo is walking in and out of frame doing chores, and how well timed it is with how the camera is moving. That was actually pretty impressive to watch. But then you have bigger scenes that happen that are really stunning to watch, with not only how big the scene is, but how well timed it is to go with the camera movement and what's going on in the picture. Technically, this is an amazing film to watch, but also visually with how clear the black and white is and how detailed it is. Also just an amazing thing to look at when you're watching the film. So visually, I think the film is absolutely stunning. And my second point, the characters are what happens to them, not what they are. Yeah, this is kind of an issue that I had with the film. The main character, Cleo, is a pretty quiet character, but then all you really know is what happens to her. It's kind of hard to become attached to her when all you're doing is watching certain things about the character. Does she really talk about certain things about herself or how she's feeling? Yes and no. She kind of just deals with what she has to do. So what you would need is for the external parts of the movie, the visuals or something, to elaborate what's going on in her head or the emotions that are going through her. I think the movie does it to a certain extent, but not enough. This film is a slow burn of a film. And if you don't know what a slow burn is, it's a film that really takes its time. It really just goes by its own pace. There are parts, no, they're not parts of the film. There's like a whole half of the film where I'm watching this going, well, this is sure is beautiful, but what am I doing here? What am I watching? Yeah, so I'm watching the film, enjoying the scenery, enjoying how the film looks, but I can't really get into the story very much. I can't really get into the characters because it just seems like set piece after set piece of beautiful imagery with people and families, and I'm just feeling no connection at all to the movie. But then, this will lead to my third point, and my third point is the final scenes are surprisingly impactful. I was not expecting to have the emotional reaction that I had with the final scenes of the film. Again, I'm not going to spoil it, but I would say the third act really surprised me. I particularly had a visceral reaction to the birth of the child. That was an incredibly devastating scene. Not only because of just what you see in the film. Man, Cuaron has a thing for childbirth in his films. But not only that, but just the reaction of Aparicio in that scene was just utterly devastating to watch. And I had, again, an emotional reaction I was not expecting. But I think the biggest emotional reaction that I had was in the end of the beach. And that was just, oh man, I watched it and was like, oh my God, what the hell? Where is this coming from? It really affected me in a way that I just was not expecting. As much as I am complaining that it felt like the film was a little too slow for its own good, I think it made up for it in the end with these incredibly impactful scenes. Okay, so here are the footnotes for Roma. If you want to see dog shit in 4K black and white, I have got the right movie for you. Oh my God, why did Cuaron decide to literally film dog shit getting run over by a tire? Why? Why did he do this? What was the point of this? Like, if you really want to see the texture and follicles of dog shit as it's getting run over by a car, have at it. Please don't comment you're the one. Please, I don't want to know. But if you are into that, you have it right here. Oh, why? Ugh. Alright, overall, I'm going to recommend Roma, even though I honestly was kind of bored throughout most of it. But I'm going to explain why I'm recommending it. I think the last scenes of the film really helped me to recommend the movie because they are that impactful if you sit through the movie. But I will understand someone will look at this and go, well, wait a minute, you didn't enjoy half the film, but you're recommending it anyway? It's like, yeah, I understand that. I think that is weird too. But the other reason why I'm going to recommend it is also just the visual aspects of the film. This film is stunning. It is beautiful to look at, and for that reason alone, I would probably recommend it, but I have to admit that the final scenes really had a visceral impact on me. I'm also giving Cuaron a little bit of leeway here. I've talked about this a number of times in other podcasts, but one of my favorite films of all time is Y Tu Mamá También, which is Cuaron's film about two young men who pick up an older woman and try to have sex with her. When I first watched it at age 19, I thought it was okay. I didn't get what was so huge about it, why people loved it so much, but I thought it was okay. And then as time went on and I rewatched it, I found that depth and ended up loving the movie, and I still love it to this day. It's one of my favorite of all time. I think Roma is going to be this way for me too. I think this is going to be a film where I'm going to have to watch it multiple times. And you know what? I'm going to watch it multiple times. And I'm going to get more and more out of it. So I am recommending this for people to watch it. But I think this is going to be more of an investment than it is of something that will pay off right away. I think this is a film that I'm going to keep revisiting and I'm going to get more and more out of. Overall, I'm going to recommend Roma, but I really think it's going to be for a specific type of person that would want to watch this type of movie, that would get more of an investment out of it. So overall, I recommend Roma from Alfonso Cuaron.
Now, if you want my full review on this movie, you can go to my website at IamTheWiz.com. You'll have my full written review right on the site, along with a link to the video that has this review that you've just listened to. Thank you for listening to this review. If you want to know what we're reviewing in the next couple of days, you can look on the screen right now to see what's coming up next. If you liked what you heard, go ahead and leave a like on this video. If you want to discuss your opinion on the film or the review itself, please leave a comment. And if you want to hear more, subscribe to the channel. Thank you again for listening. I will talk to you next time.